The moment of truth has arrived for Pedro Sanchez's government. It's time for Aldama. Let's get started. Hello everyone and welcome to a new edition of Medidas Cautelares. Tomorrow is Wednesday. Because, as you well know, the businessman Victor Aldama, the former Minister of Transport, José Luis Ábalos, and Ábalos' former advisor, Koldo Garcia, have been summoned to testify as defendants. And pay close attention because we have exclusive information, yes, it's exclusive, about some data, some information that Victor de Aldama may reveal during that testimony at the Supreme Court. And I can already tell you that the information would be very bad. For the Socialist Party, for the Prime Minister Pedro Sánchez, his wife and his ministers and former ministers, stay until the end of the video because we're going to share this information as we always do. On screen, by the way, if you haven't done it yet, remember to subscribe to the Medidas Cautelares channel with Miguel Ángel Pérez. We just need one last push to reach 128,000 subscribers and we're already on our way to 150,000 and we already have the information on screen. There you have an image of Victor de Aldama arriving at the Supreme Court where he has been attending, along with Ábalos and Koldo Garcia, the trial in the case. Koldo, it's just that Ábalos and Koldo are coming in a police van straight from Soto del Real, and Aldama, since he has cooperated with the justice system and is still cooperating with the justice system. And this Wednesday he is expected to put the icing on the cake since he is coming in his own car from his house. Well, we're going to share all this information because I'm telling you, it's going to be intense. Hold on tight, things are about to get interesting. The businessman Victor de Aldama has information that links the visit of Delcy Rodriguez to Spain on January 20th, 2020 with the illegal financing of Pedro Sanchez's PSOE. At that time, Delcy Rodriguez was the number 2 in Nicolas Maduro's Venezuelan dictatorship. This Wednesday, the testimony of the 3 defendants is scheduled in the Koldo case trial being held at the Supreme Court. The aforementioned Victor de Aldama, the former Minister of Transport José Luis Ábalos, and his former advisor Koldo Garcia. The first to testify will be Aldama, and he will begin to be questioned by the chief anti-corruption prosecutor Alejandro Luzón, followed by the PP's lawyer Alberto Duran, representing the Unified Popular Prosecution, which also includes the ACTI Association. Today, Justice, Europe, or Vox. Afterwards, Aldama will be questioned by Ábalos' lawyer Marino Turiel and by Koldo's lawyer Leticia de la Hoz. Finally, the businessman will answer questions from his own lawyer, José Antonio Choclán. That is, if you remember in Victor de Aldama's first statement, when he spilled the beans at the National Court, he answered his lawyer, José Antonio Choclán. They had prepared a structure for the questioning and he went through all that information that implicated Pedro Sánchez, half the Council of Ministers, and so on. What's the catch this time? Well, Choclán goes last. That is, first it's the anti-corruption prosecutor, then the popular prosecution, and then the defense lawyers. That is for Koldo Garcia and Ábalos, and finally it's Aldama's own lawyer, José Antonio Choclán, who goes. I think he's going to provide a lot of information. You already know that sparks can fly with Koldo Garcia's lawyer, Leticia de la Hoz, who is proving to be the most combative and fierce lawyer among the defense attorneys. Because Ábalos' lawyer, Marino Turiel, keeps a much lower profile and we'll see what comes of it. But I think the first part is going to be crucial, depending on how it goes with the chief anti-corruption prosecutor, Alejandro Luzón, what happens with Koldo's lawyer, Leticia de la Hoz, and then with José Antonio Choclán himself following up on that testimony. Sources close to Aldama that we have consulted say that the businessman's statement could last all morning and even into the afternoon, since he plans to answer all the questions from all parties. This is important because sometimes people only answer their lawyer or only answer the prosecutor and their lawyer. No, Aldama wants to answer everyone. Prosecutors, defense attorneys, accusing parties, everyone. The day has come for Aldama, and he is ready to take advantage of it to show the Supreme Court his cooperation with the justice system and avoid going to prison. I mean, look at everything Aldama has at stake, right? It's not something to take lightly. We're told the businessman won't avoid any questions and will answer everything, no matter who gets hurt. A lot depends on how the president of the court, Andres Martinez Arrieta, directs and limits the questioning. Aldama has information, pay attention, that affects the Prime Minister Pedro Sánchez and his wife Begoña Gómez, and many of the ministers and former ministers of the socialist government, such as Nadia Calviño, María Jesús Montero, Ángel Víctor Torres, Reyes Maroto, Teresa Rivera, or of course Ábalos, who is, as you know, one of the three. The same sources consulted indicate that Aldama is willing to explain all the details of the government's bailout of Air Europa, as well as the purpose of the visit. They have been who they have been who have been, those who have been, they have been, they've been, those who been. The presidency of the Socialist International. The businessman has information that shows how the visit of Maduro's then number 2 had more serious implications for the government than previously known. Aldama himself even arranged a meeting with Delcy in Madrid specifically, a dinner which didn't take place, it was cancelled, and Pedro Sánchez and all his ministers were supposed to attend. So, notice that we're talking about a meeting at the highest level. Of course, also in this context, the businessman could reveal information that he already provided to the head of the Central Investigating Court, Judge Ismael Moreno of Spain's National Court, who is investigating the illegal financing of the Socialist Party in a sealed part of the case. In that statement, he provided the envelope with the PDVSA oil quotas valued at $250 million, which we exclusively revealed on Medidas Cautelares with Miguel Ángel Pérez and Libertad Digital. And just let me remind you of a bit of context regarding Delcy Rodríguez's visit and its implications, what Aldama might be able to tell. Koldo Garcia made arrangements in 2019 for Pedro Sánchez to speak directly with Juan Guaidó, the leader of the Venezuelan opposition, after he had been recognized as interim president of Venezuela by the socialist government. Aldama then personally delivered to Guaidó, months later, a letter on official letterhead from the National Mint and Stamp Factory in an official portfolio used exclusively by the Spanish government, the one signed by Ábalos. The letter dated July 26, 2019 showed the Spanish government's recognition of Guaidó's leadership. At that summer 2019 meeting where Aldama delivered the letter to Guaidó, signed by Ábalos, Henry Ramos Alup, former president of the National Assembly of Venezuela and vice president of the Socialist International, was also present. The presence of Ramos Alup was very significant. Sánchez wanted to become president of the Socialist International. Only 6 months after the meeting between Aldama and Guaidó, Delcy Rodríguez traveled to Spain. During that period, Sánchez's agreement to support Guaidó fell apart, and the socialist government surrendered to the regime of Nicolás Maduro, which offered oil quotas to finance the Socialist Party and Sánchez's presidency in the Socialist International. In this change of stance regarding the leadership of Venezuela, former Prime Minister José Luis Rodríguez Zapatero played a key and decisive role. And that's how things stand shortly before the statements from Aldama, Ábalos, and Koldo. I think Aldama's statement could be devastating, as I told you a few days ago. We'll also come back to it at the end of this video. The video in which I recalled that information about Aldama, about his statement, which we've expanded on today. And of course, I think it could leave, I don't know if Pedro Sánchez himself, but certainly many of his ministers against the ropes. We absolutely can't miss any part of that court testimony, which I myself will be following at the Supreme Court. And we'll also see if, as we've reported, Koldo decides to spill the beans against Pedro Sánchez and Santos Cerdán, as he wants to, or if he's stopped by his lawyer, Leticia de la Hoz. And he keeps that information to be able to negotiate in other cases, in other proceedings in which Koldo Garcia himself is charged. We'll have answers in a few hours and share them here on Medidas Cautelares with Miguel Ángel Pérez. And before I say goodbye, let me remind you that Medidas Cautelares with Miguel Ángel Pérez is exclusively publishing all the trial sessions. I know some of you are asking me, hey, are you going to upload the statement? All the ones we get, we keep uploading. So don't worry, I know you're really enjoying them. Because of course it's not the same to follow the trial through clips through 30 or 40-second statements as it is to watch the entire session. You've been watching them a lot. And of course we're going to keep uploading these trial sessions. We'll probably upload them on Friday, Saturday, more towards the weekend, so you can follow them more calmly, because the sessions last 2, 3, even 4 hours. So to make it easier for you to follow, we upload them on the weekend. If you want to access them, remember you can go to the Medidas Cautelares channel with Miguel Ángel Pérez, in the Medidas Cautelares archive with Miguel Ángel Pérez. And there I upload all the court statements, not only from the Coldo case trial, but also from ongoing investigations, other trials, etc. You can find it all there. And there you can follow everything closely. I know you love these videos. And that's it for this edition of Medidas Cautelares with Miguel Ángel Pérez. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, leave me your likes, your thumbs up, and share it with whoever you want. As I was saying, the YouTube algorithm now really rewards viewer satisfaction. So thank you very much for all your messages that you leave every day, for your encouragement, for the satisfaction you get from the information we provide in Medidas Cautelares with Miguel Ángel Pérez. I won't deny there are many days when it's tough because we're exhausted from a full day of following the trial, but I never miss disappointment with all of you because you deserve it, and because this channel wouldn't make sense without you. You already know that you can become members, like the chosen ones for less than 3 euros a month, or like the supreme ones for less than 7 euros a month. The most important thing, as I always tell you, is that this information reaches everyone, because information is power. See you soon.